This is The Whole Truth, brought to you by the Greenville County Democratic Party. From local city councils and school boards to the South Carolina legislature and the nation, we provide a clear-eyed view of the whole truth surrounding the decisions, the policies, and the politics that have a direct impact on your family, your neighbors, and you. In today's podcast, Charles Morris had the opportunity to sit down with Greenville City Councilwoman Lillian Brock Flemming. They got to talk about some of Greenville City's history, and she shared some views of just a few of the meaningful changes which she has helped to shepherd in during her tenure guiding this city. So here now is the GCDP's third Vice Chair, Charles Morris, and Greenville City Councilwoman Lillian Brock Flemming.
Today, we are joined by a very special guest, the legendary Lillian Brock Flemming.
Ooh.
Councilwoman for District 2 in Greenville, my representative, and it's a privilege to be able to say that, Counselor. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so very much. It's just a joy to be in the community, out with the people.
And that you have been out with the people for almost 50 years now.
Yes.
So you grew up in Southern Side.
Yes, I did.
Which is a historic Greenville neighborhood. You were one of the first African-American women to attend Furman.
Yes.
How did growing up in Southern Side and how did making history at Furman shape your decision, you deciding to enter public life?
Well, I actually decided to enter public life because my parents were very involved in the neighborhood. And when you went to a neighborhood meeting, you got information about different things going on, etc. And at the time, when I graduated from Furman, they had decided to build a 7-lane road that would tear down about 1,125 houses in my community.
Wow.
That's basically destroying the entire community.
It was going to go right through Southern Side?
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Except in 1,120 some odd houses. And so that was, the community was upset, and I'm just getting started as a teacher. And in the community, I'm saying, well, the community is being ultimately destroyed, and we have no input. Something's wrong with this picture.
Right.
Yeah, so, and that's how I got involved. And, of course, the community's outpouring to it engaged the local NAACP and the state NAACP, et cetera, and a lot of people, et cetera. And I guess I was very vocal as to why are we going to sit here and let them do this, et cetera. And it
destroy our neighborhood.
Yeah,
not
and it
even
was
give
just
us
funny.
a chance.
It was just funny because at the time I graduated from college, everything, there's a different perspective. You haven't paid very much attention to what exactly is happening in your community. So now I'm here and I'm a teacher, which to me was a wonderful thing to do for the community, but I'm getting ready to have no community.
Right.
Okay, so that's one of the reasons I began to be in public life, and it was just normal because I was raised with my mom, Lillian Brock, who believed that we visit the sick, we take food to people who are hungry. She had people to clean up the neighborhood. Southern Side, even though it was a poor neighborhood, it was not one that had lots of trash on the street because she would encourage everybody who threw bottles on them to pick them up, and she'd give them something to put them in, and
it might have been a poor
them.
neighborhood, but there was civic pride there.
And she had this idea that she tell them, I'll feed you if you clean up your mess. And so we were there making sandwiches in the kitchen. I said, why are we doing this in the kitchen? What's going on here, etc. So that's when she started the Southern Side Community Center, opened it up to feed those who are in need. And that went on for years until they tore the building down. My husband took over when she passed away in 96. And then the building was torn down because the city would not fix it. Because it had no need to fix it. So they said, the city manager said at that time, because it was not really used for city purpose, it was just used for the community. I'm saying, well, the community is the city.
Exactly.
But anyway.
That's one and the same, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So you were following in the footsteps of your parents
in
terms of community engagement. What happened with that first race back in 1981, and then what eventually happened with the planned highway?
Well, I won the election. I was pregnant. In fact, I had the baby a couple of weeks after the election.
Wow.
The election at that time was in May.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know what they changed rules or something. It was in May, so I had the baby. And so at that time, Bill Workman, who later became the mayor, said he thought it was just a cheap way to get out of a meeting for me to have a baby, etc. And I said, well, you try it. And he says, ooh. I said, that's exactly right. I said, you try it.
So you campaigned that entire time while you were pregnant.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Healthy children.
and you are certainly blessed. Let everybody know, how many children and grandchildren do you have?
Well, we have 10 kids, 7 boys, 3 girls, and we have 50. My husband corrected me the other day. We have 53 grandchildren. We have 46 great grandchildren.
What an incredible legacy that is.
Oh yes, and I have one that will be a year old in October, and I have another 1-year-old who will be 2 years old in October, and a 5-year-old who will be 6 in October. I tell you, it's just, October is going to be a busy time, but I'm keeping the date straight.
Man, you can't go a week without a grandkid having a birthday, probably.
Oh my Lord, my God, somebody's having something, but they are a blessing.
They keep you young, I'm sure.
Yes.
That is an unbelievable legacy. You talked about Southern Side, obviously the neighborhood you grew up in. I happen to live in West Greenville, which is right next to Southern Side.
Yes.
So there's those two neighborhoods and other neighborhoods in District 2 have faced decades of underinvestment.
Right.
You've obviously done a lot of work in this area. But what would you like to see still be done? And, what is your vision for addressing those issues as we move forward, 2025, Plan 2040 for Greenville, and those things?
Well, continue with our home ownership program that we started in the 80s. Right after I got on council, at that time, Senator Ralph Anderson and I were very close, and he and I both wanted home ownership, and so he pushed it, etc. I used to laugh at Ralph. Ralph got to have his name on it, but it didn't matter. We just wanted people in housing, and that was a wonderful thing. And it seems like in the late 90s, things started turning towards apartment living and apartment dwelling almost everywhere in America.
Right.
And that in itself has created a problem in terms of economic growth for people in poor communities. African American, Hispanics, a lot of the Hispanics and African Americans in my community have not had an opportunity to own homes. And earlier in the 80s, we were moving in that way. Of course, government doesn't move as fast as private investment, so it took a little while to do a lot of things. And but the West Greenville community and the Southern Side community are not like they were when I first got on council. It was a lot of violence. We had a lot of crime. And we had one of the first police shootings in West Greenville where a police officer was killed. And that was devastating for the community because then, then the whole community is held hostage by the police.
Right. Because
all of them shot that. But then, so we had to work on step by step. And the people were very patient, and they're still patient. We still had some situations with the railroad, not with closing down the bridge that's in West Greenville, one of the bridges in West Greenville, and some other things, etc. And so we worked on that to get there, and we have a bridge that was built in 1826.
Right, the Queen Street Bridge.
Yes, Lord. And I'm still waiting for it to be revived, etc. And what's so funny is that they have told me 4 different stories about, basically lies about who owns it. And you say, God, you got to go through a true investigation to figure out who owns it. Then when you find out who owns it and you stand there and say that to them, they say, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the lady who lived next door says, I can tell you what day your little man came by and closed the bridge if y'all didn't own it. I said, oh.
Wow.
Yeah, oh, yeah. She's a little 86-year-old lady. It was exciting. So that's how investing in the community makes a difference.
Right.
Because the people are there with you. When somebody's giving them a chance to say something and put their voice in it, it makes a difference. And so
it certainly does.
So we're moving forward with that. It just takes a little while, but we're moving forward. And I'm very patient. Sometimes I'm not quite as patient, but it moves forward.
Well, I heard you say on Saturday at a community meeting, you said we need human beings to take care of human beings.
Exactly.
Right. And
that's what we need.
I think what you were just saying, I think speaks exactly to that.
Yeah,
and I think
do.
it speaks to your legacy because that's what you spent the last, 45 years doing, right?
Yes. Human being, you need to, when you understand everybody doesn't have the same situation.
Right.
And yes, there are some people who may go a little overboard, but they still need somebody to at least speak to them. A lot of people are very surprised when I answer my telephone. I'm saying, I gave out the number, so call me if you need me. And, if I'm busy or if there's something, or if I'm not the one. Because what happens that I've developed a quick sense to notice is that a lot of people are not getting answers to their questions. And some of them is just a simple question of who handles this?
Right.
Where do I go? And they dial and
who
dial.
Can help
and
me?
So then they say government is no good because nobody's answering my question.
I can personally attest you answer the phone.
Yes, I will answer the phone. And if I'm not the one, I will explain it to people. And I'll tell them exactly who is their representative. Because they need to know. And I said, would you like their number?
Exactly.
I'll go find their number for them. Because that's what happens. And sometimes it helps people.
So just to keep touching on the housing,
Yes.
So you talked about, apartments tend to be kind of the theme of development. Development can bring a lot of prosperity, but it also brings the big G word, right?
Oh, yeah.
Gentrification. So you've often said that developers are obviously resistant to affordable housing because there's a lot of requirements that come along with affordable housing. Mm-hmm. So what tools or policies do we need to emphasize to get developers to go along with building more affordable housing? Because that is truly better for the community.
Yes, well, we have a lot of... the state of South Carolina doesn't have some of the same rules and regulations that other states have that require developers to give a certain percentage of housing to affordable housing to people with lower incomes, and it can be at different levels. And since South Carolina doesn't have that, then we can't demand it. We can ask, and we have been successful with some of our developers. That's actually the way they feel giving back to the community is they will do that. But many of them will not because of the requirements and all of the things and the prices that they're limited to charging.
Right.
That in itself is a problem.
So it's a money game. They don't feel like affordable housing is a money-making venture.
The other problem we have is that we have private developers, and not necessarily companies, but people who own houses, who have their property developed into housing, but they will not allow people who are poor to live in their houses because they don't want to take vouchers. Now, here's my thing. A voucher is a guaranteed piece of money.
Exactly.
It's guaranteed rent. You don't have to go look for Sally and Jim.
It's going to be there every month, right?
You're going to get your money, etc., but they don't want to do that.
So how do we incentivize people, like you said, who might just be private homeowners? How do we incentivize them to rent to, people who have Section 8 vouchers or to participate in affordable housing programs?
Well, we have worked on a few programs where we sometimes donate certain things that are required for them to do. The city can donate that service to them so they don't have to pay for it. Sometimes we have worked with them partnering, giving them more land in order to be able to build a bigger facility. And that's one of the incentives that we've used, except we use several of those. You can use those kind of things. Sometimes you can just appeal to their good sense.
Right.
Et cetera,
which you're very good at doing.
Well, and one thing is a lot of people don't realize you may mistreat people today, but your kids are coming up. Where are they going to stay? right now, as I think about it, I have my cute little grandbabies that are going to be 1 and 2, and I think about where are they going to stay? Are they going to have to pay, $2,000 a month to rent something?
Right.
Or if they have their own home, are they going to have to spend $4,000 a month to lease it or to buy a house, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. What you said is so important. It's almost like a variation of the golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated. It's also, well, treat others how you would want your children and your grandchildren to be treated.
Exactly.
No,
exactly.
I
think about that. It's amazing.
No, I think that's incredible. You talked about pushing for the Queen Street Bridge being restored.
Yes.
Honoring your mother's legacy with the Southern Side Community Center. Obviously, Unity Park is one of your biggest achievements. What do you hope to see in the future when it comes to the Queen Street Bridge and the Southern Side Community Center, and why are they so important to you?
Well, with the Queen Street Bridge, that bridge kind of puts communities together. When it was out, if there was a fire or anything for the people across the other side of the bridge, then here the trucks have to go all the way around.
Right.
That delays thing. If somebody's having a heart attack, they could die.
Right.
And if a child is hanging on to a limb or something like that, it can delay it, or someone could die. It's not a pretty thing, and particularly when people spend so much time trying not to own it, so they wouldn't be responsible for fixing it.
Right.
And even the city of Greenville staff went in and fixed it without permission from the railroad.
Really?
Yes.
When did that happen?
About 6 years ago.
Okay.
Without permission, because it was just ridiculous. The fire department said, "Now this is crazy.
Right.
We can't get to anybody." And they had 2 or 3 things, so it was something, etc. We fixed it, and they said, "We don't have time to go through it." We've asked them 5 times, and they said, "No, we'll get to you." But anyway, they fixed it, and then so now they're getting back together. They're going to take care of it.
Right.
Yes. I just don't know when.
And what about the Southern Side Community Center?
The Southern Side Community Center, for the neighborhood, we have our neighborhood, Southern Side Neighborhood in Action, SNIA. The city is in the process of rebuilding that building.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yes, so it will be ready to be open pretty soon, and so that'll be great. But someplace for people to meet. In our communities, we have a lot of young people moving in, which is great.
Right.
But while we're still doing that, we have a lot of elderly people who need someplace to stay as well. And so, and the Southern Side, and they come to the neighborhood meetings because that way they get a chance to find out what's going on.
Right.
And so, I'm just hoping those same things move forward. And not just in Southern Side because I live there, but in all neighborhoods. That's why I go to people say, well, you go to everybody's neighborhood. I said, no. I said, I have a lot of neighborhoods.
Exactly.
I said, a lot of people organize. I said, some people just don't have neighborhoods. They have homeowners associations, which means you pay a certain amount of money. But I know I have neighborhood associations where they argue and get angry about certain things, which they should. It's their street. They live there.
Right.
Yeah, so.
It's refreshing that you're still so big on community centers, because I do feel like it's almost become lost how important just a neighborhood or a community having a central place for everybody to gather, to community, to learn one another. That makes communities stronger, which makes cities stronger,
right.
And I think it makes society stronger. So it is refreshing that you're such a strong proponent of that.
Well, one of the other reasons is that when speaking to a person, I met this young man last year at an Urban League function. He lives in Columbia, but he's originally from Greenville. He hadn't been back home in a long time. All he wanted to see was the West Greenville Center. I said, what? He said, I grew up in West Greenville.
Right.
He said, if it had not been for the West Greenville Center, he said, I probably would have been a criminal because I had nowhere else to play. And now he's a large developer in Columbia. He does a lot of different things, different kinds of development with commercial buildings and stuff like that.
That's a testament to why we need them.
Yeah, and I said, well, you got to come back. I said, because I represent your neighborhood. And that was so exciting when you see the children who move from one place to another. And a young man came in my house the other day. I hadn't seen him in a long time. He said, well, you and your husband used to sponsor our basketball team. I said, what? He said, oh, yeah. He said, we were good. He said, we won a lot of trophies. I said, okay. I said, that's a good thing to see those kids grow up, because it did make a difference in their lives. It did make a difference because somebody cared about them.
Right.
And so those centers, someplace for people to go, it's a wonderful thing. Everybody doesn't have a country club. So It's a good thing to have a good neighborhood.
Exactly. No, I could not agree more. Speaking of young people, for those younger people that you mentioned, especially those who are from historically marginalized communities, what advice would you give to a younger person who wants to serve, who wants to join public service like you have been in for so long?
Do it. And basically, take your time and just look around. Get involved in something you're interested in. I am a life member of the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts.
Right.
Etc. Why? Those two organizations have been around for a long time, and they have developed policies, rules, and games, and also abilities of children to be able to grow and to learn different and to travel, just for small communities and big communities. They haven't made a difference. And those two organizations have been around for a long time. So I believe in that consistency where children have an opportunity to learn and to grow.
Right.
So that's why I remember both of them. And I've helped the Boy Scouts. I had a few problems with some neighborhood organizations, so I helped them to establish a couple of neighborhood organizations in Greenville. So it was exciting over the years, and with the Girl Scouts being a member and building a huge building in Columbia so that the girls could have a place for camp and everything else. It's been very, very rewarding, and as well as telling them to find what they're interested in, find something that even they can help their own brothers and sisters to grow, etc. Because, my little 2-year-old grandbaby, Lord Jesus, she needs somebody to guide her, etc. So she won't be throwing pillows and running and jumping
I understand.
up and down.
My daughter is 2. I get it.
She's amazing.
Oh, yeah, she's a wild one.
Amazing.
She's a wild one.
She's amazing, etc. But I blame it on my husband. I tell him, I say, they have your traits when it comes to all of that. And that's exciting. But if they start early helping other children, they themselves will be different people when they're older.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do, is build a foundation.
Community.
Yes.
It takes a village, which means community.
Exactly. That's why we have the word unity. That's why we call it Unity Park.
You can't have community without unity.
Unity.
I've heard you say that many times. Mm-hmm. I want to close with this, and I think this is probably the question I've been looking forward to the most. You've been on city council since 1981. Mm-hmm. Greenville has changed enormously since then.
Yes.
I mean, I've lived here my entire life, and my parents worked downtown at Beatty, Liberty Plaza, Beatty Street. And I mean, they started working there when I was probably 2, and they worked there until I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the city downtown changed so much just in that time. I can't imagine how much change you've seen. So looking back, what are you most proud of from your time on council? And what do you hope your legacy will be at the end of the day?
Well, that's a wonderful question. And as I look back at it, I mean, it was scary downtown. Most people didn't go downtown. There was nothing there. There were things there, but they all left. The buses closed, and they all left. But now to see us slowly come back and be more family friendly.
Right.
Now there are events that we have downtown festivals and everything else.
There's always something.
Always something. Downtown, and when little kids can now get on a fire truck again, because beforehand the fire department was afraid to go out in the community, because it was really different. But now the things are changing, and a lot of people say, "Well, downtown is not." I said, "No, I will not allow people to say it's not for certain people. Downtown or in town, anywhere, is for anybody if you go."
Right.
If you sit at home and don't look at it, because there's nothing, if you've never ever gone downtown, there's nothing that says, well, you can't come down here. We don't have that. So you can't say that. There's something for everyone to enjoy, and it doesn't have to cost money. And the other thing I like is organizations getting together and having events downtown that's free to the public, like the gathering when they had the large dinner table that covers 2 or 3 blocks where they feed everybody.
Right.
That's a wonderful thing. To see the Christmas parade coming back again. Oh, my Lord. Oh, I was in the Christmas parade when I was little, and I hadn't seen the Christmas parade, but now I'm taking my grandchildren to the Christmas parade. We're having a great time, and it's exciting to see. Sometimes there's too many buildings, but if you don't own the land, you can't tell them they can't build it there. But we do have zoning and planning where we can stop some things from over being, coming around. Like we started back charging money for the Richardson Street garage at night because that's where they were holding little off-gathering fights and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I saw that.
So we had to deter them from coming in there at night, etc. And that's a sad situation. Sad situation. However, but you do what you do. You monitor, you adjust.
And we do. I mean, we have a wonderful downtown that honestly is the envy of a lot of the nation. Mm-hmm. And I think that you being the longest tenured member on council by far, you having been there the entire time through all of this tremendous growth and change, in my opinion, I think that is your legacy, and I think that is a monumental legacy.
Well, thank you so much, and I really do appreciate it. I have supported and voted against a lot of things. We don't really go public on some things that we don't even tell people that that it was brought to our attention, because some things are really not family friendly and community friendly. So we just don't even bring it up. For example, like the Lolly Green bus to carry around to carry drunk people to their car. I mean, say what? You never heard of that, because like when it came out, it was like. We were shaking our heads before, don't even bring it up. Now let it go. And the next issue is this. But it has been, we have been very supportive, and on council, it has made a difference because all of us have some of the same views about doing what's right for the community and putting as many things as we can in the public's way that doesn't necessarily cost, but your whole family can enjoy it and see it. The day Unity Park opened was a wonderful day. A wonderful day for children. It was so exciting to see children jump around in the water. Right. And several of the little children couldn't speak English. One little boy was from Czechoslovakia. Okay. Of all things, and the other little boy was Hispanic. But they understood how to play in the water and splash. It was so exciting to see them get together. That's what it's all about. It's
That's the beauty of community.
Yeah.
Everybody can
come together and just enjoy. And now we have parks that are for the disabled children.
Yes.
That's
a new one. I saw that. That is incredible.
The Brooks playground. And it's in the shade.
Yes.
And that's what I love. And for the children who have all kinds of handicap. And it's exciting. And now our zoo, the Phillips Farm at the zoo, we're going to have some more animals there for our children to learn more. Now that was real hilarious when my grandkids were little, etc. Everybody was afraid of all the lions and tigers and bears. A little bit of children were like, trying to get. I said, leave that tiger alone, girl. Come over here. And she's a baby. She's got a lollipop trying to get her. The lion, some suckers. Oh Lord! But anyway, so it shows you that the different people have different fears. The baby, she hadn't learned to be afraid of the tiger yet, so she just had a great time. etc. So it is just seeing people and children grow and everything else. And it's just taking our time. Everything's not perfect, but you have to work towards. You have to work toward it, and we have to learn things. That's the one thing a lot of people don't realize at the city of Greenville that we did. We spent about 9, 10, 11 years going from city to city, looking at what they had that we even went to Birmingham, England, etc. And roundabouts is where we got our roundabouts from them, because it did make a difference in the traffic, and it stopped a lot of wrecks and stuff in certain areas. So, but it just takes time. You do everything doesn't fit everybody. You just do what you can.
That's your legacy, and nobody has put in more work to make the city of Greenville better than you have.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's my home, my love.
Well, Councilwoman Lillian Brock Flemming, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate this. Have a good day.
Thank you.
We want to thank you for watching and listening to The Whole Truth with us. The Greenville County Democratic Party is ramping up its involvement with the election this year, and we urge you to do your part in getting Ms. Lillian Brock Flemming reelected into the Greenville City Council. There are multiple ways you can do that, including canvassing, making phone calls, and planting yard signs. If you are unable to do that, you can just contribute financially, which is always helpful and needed. Just point your browser to voteforlillian.com and get involved. You can also learn about other ways to get involved by checking in with the GCDP website at greenvilledemocrats.com and check out the events calendar. You can also keep up with what's going on by following our social media profiles shown here. No matter your skills or time available, there is a way that you can help to keep this city together and keep this county progressing forward toward a better future. Thanks.